Hey, what is up, artists and art fans? Thank you guys for tuning into the only spot where we talk to your favorite artists about their trade tools and tips. I'm your host, Zim Zimma. You guys are on Chatting with Zim. This is episode number 52. That's right, 5-2. Holy cow. Well, I got a special treat for you guys. Today, without any further ado, I'm proud to present the champion of the first Mac tournament. He's a father, artist, cosplayer, sculptor, and the list goes on and on and on. Joining us all the way from the Carolinas, I welcome to you, Abe Duenas. Let's go ahead and bring him up here to the mothership. Oh man, if you guys missed that tournament, I suggest you guys go to Monsters Art Clan and definitely go check out some of the posts there.
What's up?
And there you go, the man, the myth, the legend himself. Hey, what's going on, Abe? How you doing, brother?
Not much, man. How's it going?
Man, everything is awesome. You hear me loud and clear?
Yeah, it's perfect. It sounds great.
I hear you loud and clear.
It sounds like I was a little worried because like last week, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, it was a little choppy, but I didn't know if it was just like, whose internet or what, if it was my internet or yours, and I was watching the show and I couldn't.
Okay.
Yeah, but it sounds great.
Yeah, no, I mean, sometimes it happens, man. I know that T-Mobile and Verizon were having technical difficulties last week.
Right.
Also, it just depends. Sometimes when the thunderstorms around the country, signals go off here and
That
there.
makes
So,
sense. Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome.
And that's pretty much it, man. Well, before we get started, man, happy belated Father's Day.
Oh, yeah. It was a busy weekend.
Yeah, it
Right, for a
definitely
lot of
was.
people. Nice. How about you? Are you a father?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you look so young.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm 34, about to be 35
Okay.
in about 2-3 weeks, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, on the
Excellent.
15th.
Nice. Well, man, that's just awesome. So, how do we do this? How do we?
Man, we're doing this right now, man. This is
All right.
just this is it. Nothing special. I usually take the first few minutes, see how you're doing, see if there's anything to catch up on as far as like
Right.
pop culture stuff related, but
Right.
everything's under quarantine, so there's really nothing to talk about.
No, I started watching NASCAR a little bit today.
What? NASCAR? Cool.
It was in the news. I'm like, well, it's the only sport that's going on. I put it on the race. It had it wasn't actually like the play-by-play announcer video feed. It was a feed from one of the cars. And I
Oh,
was like,
okay.
wow. I said, man, if I had like my VR goggles, this actually would be kind of cool, because you put them on and you're just following him where he's going. And it's actually just watching it on my phone, you get a real sense for how fast these guys are going and as far as like what moves they got to do to
Yeah.
just basically, get to the front. I don't think I could do it. I'd probably
Uh,
wreck everybody.
Nah, man. I mean, I used to dabble in a little bit of illegal street racing when I was younger, so
Okay,
yeah.
so you're familiar with going fast then.
Oh yeah, big time adrenaline junkie.
Yeah,
But that's in the
yeah,
past, though. I had to
yeah,
give it up
right,
when my daughter was born. So,
right. That's good.
and well, thank you for joining us, man. Thank you, and
Oh,
thank you, guys, audience, viewers. I know Seven is life is in the house. Fat Cap'n, he said Happy Father's Day. Thank you very much. Thank you,
yeah.
Seven, for the Father's Day blessing. Let's see, the talented Mr. D. He's gonna join us in July. So and
Nice.
Phalo Halo, and who else? And my brother Tori Edwin.
What's
Shout
up,
out, guys.
everyone?
Yeah, man. So let's get started, dude.
All right.
Take us back. Tell
What's
us
up,
a little
Phalo?
bit about you and how you got started with art in
Um,
general.
well, as far as like art in general, man, believe it or not, I don't have. I always hear everybody else's stories of how they got started, and everyone has these cool stories. But honestly,
This
I think
cool
the
story.
first, no, honestly, the first drawing that I did that I thought to myself, wow, I think I want to keep doing this. My sister had a coloring book, and I drew one of the characters out of that coloring book, and I was like, wow, that's not too bad. But it was Cinderella, so it
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
so.
Yeah.
And so I think I was maybe 7 or 6. It's in second grade. I don't know how old. I skipped. I got held back, so I might have been. I might have been 7. But yeah, I remember ever since then I was into art. But my dad, being Latino and coming from a real hard background, he was like, "Hey man," he said, "you can't make a living in art." He's like, "You just that's I mean, from his experience, his perspective, that's what he saw." So he
Yeah.
actually taught me how to weld, and so I became a sculptor and pursued that. And I always dabbled here and there. Actually, I got a little bit of training and working with oil painting and stuff like that. So I haven't really done a lot of that. And it wasn't until actually I was on Instagram and just going through the live feeds, and for some reason Bruce, I saw his Bruce 13,
Hmm.
his he was going live, and I'm like, hey man, check this cat, this cat out. I clicked on it and just watching him, and with live streaming and putting yourself out there with your work, it's almost twofold. People will appreciate your work, but if they don't connect with you on a psychological level, if they don't like you, you're not, like I would want to say, if you're not watchable, then they move on. And so he was just talking and just talking about his work, and I think he was rehabbing, and I think he had gotten hurt. I don't know if he got hurt from a fight or something like that, but he's talking about how he's just got back into artwork,
Mm.
because that was, like, therapeutic for him, and he had to do something. And this is all like before COVID and all that. He was like homebound, and I was just watching his stuff, and I just followed him then, and he's his work, I think, is some of the first things I bought on Instagram from him. I got some of it behind me,
Oh yeah, I
and
see it. We'll get to that.
well, yeah. So it was pretty much because of him that I started drawing. I've always done some. My work's always been creative, whether it's working on ironwork. Ironwork kind of led me to being a photographer. So I'm actually a commercial photographer right now. I work
Cool.
for a company that's based out west, but they have a distribution center here, and so I photograph all their electronic components. And on the side, I still pursue, I still have my metal shop, and I still have people that hire me to do things for them metal wise, and sometimes I get a video job here and there. So, but I got into cosplay because my mom, she taught me actually how to sew when I was young. It's like, parents seems like in our kind of background, they just teach you what they know.
Yeah.
Um, you know, say, at least you know something. You can't say that and teach you nothing. So my dad taught me how to weld. My mom taught me
That's
how to
true.
sew. And it's funny because my mom, she would, she was kind of working from home a lot, and she would make little girls' dresses. It's
Mm.
funny because she had 5 boys and 2 girls, but she made dresses like crazy. And she never made us any clothes, but she made my. I thought it was kind of messed up. One time I got in a fight with my brother, and she's like, "Hey, if you stop messing around, I'm gonna make you wear one of those dresses." And I was like, "Yeah, right. You want
Oh
to do that to
man.
me?" Oh, you know what happened? Put me in the middle of the
Oh.
living room. I was there sitting there like wearing a dress.
Oh
I was
no,
like,
she
"Is this?
didn't.
I'm gonna be telling those people you talk about, to fix your brain in the future. I don't know what it's called, but that you sit on the couch. I'm gonna talk to them when I get old and rat you out." And she let me know. I only did that once. It didn't solve the fighting problem, but she must have thought, yeah, that wasn't right, you
Yeah.
know.
Wow. And Fat Cap'n pretty much, he read my lips. Jack of all trades, master of none. You know.
I
So
don't know.
yeah, man.
I know a couple of them. I know a couple of them to get paid for. Maybe not. It was with drawing and artwork, but it's like photography. That's my main job. I actually won international awards with my metalwork.
Oh
Um,
wow.
so I've done a couple of gates here for the a national battlefield in our county. Um, so and that only helps you to get, out there and more people to kind of take you seriously, kind of deal. But yeah,
No, I mean that's impressive, dude. Just the fact that that you're able to stay as a creative, and not just necessarily in art per se,
right,
when I say art, I mean sketching and stuff like that.
right.
But just in general, photography. Also, it's there pinned on the bottom,
Oh, right.
abeduenas.com. So man, I saw
Oh, that, thanks. Yeah,
filmmaker as well.
yeah,
So.
I got a couple films that, it's just if I was interested in something, I would pursue it till I could do it.
Mhm.
And film is just like kind of one of my, if I had to point to something and say, hey, Abe, what would you like to do creatively for the rest of your life if you could get paid for? I think it would be film, because every aspect of pretty much everything I love to do, at one point or another, you will have to do it in a film. For instance, if I want to draw something, well, you got to design characters, you got to design sets,
Mhm.
so you can draw that. I like to build stuff, like props and all that. You can build stuff. If you want to take photos, whatever it is, film, it involves just about every creative discipline that you can think of. Even the guys back in the day, before they had all this CG, they would paint. They would matte paints. Like for instance, a famous film that used matte painting was Ten Commandments. When they did
Mhm.
Ten Commandments and they had them going through the Red Sea, those were paintings that they superimposed the crowd into to make it
Oh
look like,
wow.
and they were transparent glass, and so they had water actually going through the back of the glass, and so they
Mhm.
filmed that so it looked like they had this ocean, that was parted. So
Yeah, yeah.
it was little things like that, and so ever since I was a little kid, I mean, seeing the little behind the scenes things that people do, I was like, man, if I could only uh, do that. But that's where the whole film thing, and I have worked on a couple of film projects when they used to do a lot more filming around the area.
Mhm.
I worked on this show called, what was it? It was an HBO show. No, Showtime. That one with that
Uh
skinny blonde girl.
it's nothing famous, only Game of Thrones.
No, no, not that one. It's on Showtime. Homeland. Homeland. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
snaps.
So I worked on Homeland, and then I got pulled in as a photo double, and I'm actually in the background scene of
Oh, cool.
one of the episodes, but I'd never seen myself. Someone sent me a screenshot.
Oh, dude, that's pretty cool though, man.
Yeah.
If you still have the screenshot, man, put it up sometime on your stories. That'll be cool.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I'm gonna check that out. Somebody, I've never seen the show, um, but it was one of those things where, getting involved in that scene, you just basically just reach out to people and say, hey, you need somebody that, they're like, yeah, yeah, come on. And it was just a day thing, but I did it mostly so I can see how a professional, I guess Hollywood productions, they how they light, how they set things up, how they work, so that I can transition that into my own projects, like my video projects and
Mm.
my short films and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool. And I was gonna ask the question, if there was from all the hats that you wear, if you could pick one, and you said film. So
Right,
yeah,
right.
that's
I think
that's
so. I think so.
yeah, that's pretty cool, man. I'm glad it works out for you, man. And I'm also curious. Me being into like superheroes and stuff like that. As
Right,
I've heard you cosplay as well.
right.
I actually checked you out in Spider-Man. I seen that you
Oh
did.
yeah,
I can't. Is it Stitch?
yeah. That's actually his head back there. That's sitting there in the way back. He I think it's one of my daughter's favorite characters, Stitch.
Mm,
And we were noticing that, we tried to do a character that has never been done, either one, never been done, it's not real popular, or has been done, but we try to approach it in a different way. So people
Mm-hmm.
have cosplayed as Stitch, but if you notice if you just look up a hashtag Stitch cosplay, what you'll see is the proportions are all off.
Mm.
The scales, you look at it, either the head's too small because it has to go down around a human head, the body,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. So what we did was we made a Stitch that was proportioned right. I mean, of course,
Awesome.
yes, he is like almost 8 feet tall by the time we get him put together, but his
Yeah.
head alone, I mean, you can't wrap your hands around it. But he's like his head's only like maybe 3.5 feet off the ground, you
Wow.
know. And so my daughter, she's 11 now, but she cosplayed as him last year. And so there's this harness that she's got to wear that's made out
Mm-hmm.
of like seat belts, and so it rests on her shoulder, so the whole body and the head is resting on her shoulders, but it's made out of EVA foam, so it's
Mm-hmm.
super duper light. But even like even for a 10 or 11 year old, after uh, wearing something like that, I mean, I think the longest she could last in it is maybe 30 minutes, and then she'll
Oh,
take a
okay.
break. But
Yeah.
so that's what we do, and even like the Wolverine that we have back there, it's Sam Keith's version of Wolverine. So what we did was we scaled uh, his one of his drawings that we liked, and so we were going to basically, it's a little kid, so she could pull it off, a little kid in a big bodysuit like that. And so Sam Keith, my fist is like that big, but he draws Wolverine's fist like 5 times larger than a human fist. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of when he did it when he was drawing the Max and all that. And so my idea was, no, people have cosplayed Wolverine to death, but they've never done it this style, this kind of technique, to make like a bodysuit and just have a little kid in it. And another thing they've never done is that you either see a cosplay Wolverine that already has his claws popped or no claws. And
Mm.
so because I was going to, I don't think I have it in here. I was going to model his hands off of one of those huge Hulk fists.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so what I was going to do is I was going to put claws in that fist so that because she's so small, she can go in there and just have two little handles that when she wanted to, she just moves them forward and the claws would pop. And
Man,
then when she didn't want to do that, she just pulls the handles back and they're
engineering at its finest, man.
yeah, so but we only got past the head. So um
Yeah.
it's one of those things where, after COVID, we just all our projects just kind of like we don't know when the
Yeah.
next con is going to be. I don't know if it'll fit her anymore. So, you know, that's that.
That, and that's cool. Now, just especially being a parent, and being in this whole art world is is it something now as far as her, what's her name?
Sarai?
Sarai.
Yeah.
Sarai?
Yeah, exactly.
So is this something Sarai like picked up on her own, or were you kind of like, hey, your dad likes,
Right.
yeah?
I think, or as far as maybe the cosplay, I think it was probably more me,
Mm-hmm.
because she always liked as far as the creativity part, she is a lot like me as far as like right now. I try to make it. I mean, I try to be the polar opposite of what my father was.
Mm-hmm.
If she asks for art supplies, I'm like, yeah, let's get it. Let's try this out. You might, even if I'm not into it, I say, let's go, let's try it. Maybe this will be your thing. But with kids, it's always like, yeah, no, I'm not. I don't like that anymore. So now you have this stuff over here. So I try to
Yeah.
give her like a limit to spend, kind of more so she's just dipping her feet in that creative pool. But right now she's really liking the markers and stuff, and that was something got. She actually, was talking about these markers and these brands and stuff, and I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then it wasn't until I got into it myself by watching Bruce that I was like, man, so maybe I ain't gonna get some of these instead of just. I got sick of
Mm.
penciling and just I used to have some black liners, and that's about it. You know.
No, for sure, man. You got any current projects right now going?
Yeah. I mean, I actually got one of my first commissions. I'll show you right now. It's actually a 4-panel slap, and I'm see if I can hold it up here. It's actually I did a drawing of Nacho Libre and Esqueleto,
Mm-hmm.
and so somebody's like, "Hey man, why don't you draw like mil máscaras for me?" And so I was like, "Well, I do commissions." He's like, "Yeah, I'll pay you." So this is like mil máscaras here, doing kind of like a backflip off of that corner post, and
Awesome.
so it's probably like halfway done. I don't know how everybody else does it, and I think I've just seen other people where they're just I noticed that markers, it's a lot like watercolors where you start off with the lightest colors and then you go in with shading. So right now it looks very flat. Um,
It's
so
it's all part of the process, man. That's
right, you
usually what I
actually
tell
kind of get
people.
discouraged when you put that first layer down. And you're like, man, it sucks. You're like, maybe I should quit.
Nah, man, never, never.
But you
Like,
gotta trust the, like you said, trust the process. And
yeah, yeah, definitely. And back to talking about Brother Bruce here. It's I remember the first time he didn't know. I mean, I've been talking to him since I first interviewed him, which was sometime in like
oh,
December. But I've
yeah,
been following him for I think over a year or so. You
oh,
know,
okay.
but I remember a while back, a few months, I think it was about a month ago, I started getting into acrylics, and the only thing he saw was just me adding all these layers, and it looked ugly. And he's like, "Yo, I didn't know Zim could do this." And I'm like, "Dude, trust the
Mm.
process. Wait till the end."
Exactly.
And then at the end, he's like, "Whoa." So it's
Right, and then I have experience with oil painting, but it's almost like you can screw up in oil painting.
mm-hmm.
The thing, because you're like, wow, here you go over there, and you can start any shade really you want, and then because it doesn't dry, you just go over there with your little rag and just wipe it off, and you're done. But what's I, I'm amazed at some of these artists at how fast they work. I mean, just watching them work live, and I'm like, man, I can do that. Um, Maybe one day I'll get faster, but I'm so scared, like when I'm doing, like a piece like that it really only takes one, drop of a marker, and you're like, oh, it just drops on the wrong spot. And so what are you gonna do? You gotta go over there with your little Posca, but still, you see it afterwards, that little spot that has that little what you painted over.
We artists, we're our own critics, man. Our own worst
So
critics, brother. So I
like,
get that. I totally get that. And you know what? I learned it from Bob Ross. Watching him
right,
growing up. That it's happy. It sounds funny. Happy little mistakes. But at
right,
the end of the day, it's like, well, that's the beauty about being a creative. And being
right,
able to do all this stuff. It's like, hey, you're able to turn it into whatever you want. If you're
right.
if you're very creative enough, then you're able to go ahead and kind of like fix it in the background, add it, make it
True,
flow.
true.
So yeah, yeah, that's my one tip. Don't be afraid to mess up, and if you do, work with it, because that's the
Right.
only way you're gonna get
That's all,
better.
exactly. That's all you can do. Hey, how about we do a giveaway? I have three to give away, and I don't know how I'm not really I'm not the streaming show expert. So how do you want to do this? Like trivia? Um, Pick a number 1 through 3. There's four
Uh,
people.
let's do a little let's do okay. Let me choose first then.
All right. Yeah, go for it.
Trivia question. Who was Abe's last opponent on the Mac battle? First one to answer it on the bottom gets it. How's that?
That works for me.
All right.
Yeah.
So last opponent, Mr. Abe Duenas over here. The last opponent he battled. First one to answer gets the first one here.
Okay.
Gets the first
Let's see.
prize. Are we gonna show it off?
What's that?
The first prize.
Oh, well, yeah, the first prize is basically I don't know if you saw it, that I'll do your portrait.
Oh,
You
okay,
do
okay.
a slap portrait. I
There
got
you
3 of
go.
those. I'm willing to do, you know. Hey, Thalo, I get to do your portrait. I mean, I get to do your portrait, man.
There you go.
That's an honor. It's
Thalo,
like I feel
Thalo,
like
man.
I'm the one. I feel like I'm the one that won the giveaway.
Talented Mr. D. Halo Halo. I should have been
Don't worry, we got 2 more to give away. I'm over here like the guy from Shrek. Pick 2, my lord. Pick 2. No, no, we got 2 more to give away.
So awesome. Let me go ahead and write that down. First winner, Halo.
Yeah, we got 2 more to give away.
I should have probably said
Except
except
Halo.
except Halo. I just didn't want to spoil it.
Dude,
Um
I've been watching all these different streams and everything going on through the COVID, and I'm not lying. I've won like $200 in gift cards
oh
from
wow.
eating out and stuff just by watching and doing trivia.
Oh, that's cool, dude.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, that's really cool. It's we're about 26 minutes in. Let's take a few minutes and dude, tell us about your experience with the whole Mac tournament, man. How did that come about? How did you get
oh,
into it, and your final thoughts on being the champ, man? Congrats on
um,
that too.
well, the thing, well, I think I saw you and Bruce. It was another live stream, like people come
Mm,
up live and then you just click on it. And Bruce was just like, yeah, we're gonna have this battle. We're gonna have this many artists. And so I think I had just started my Instagram 2D art page, Abe doing art. And so I just messaged him, hey man, if you have an extra a slot, I'd love to just, be in the mix. And he was like, yeah, I think I do. I think somebody either dropped out or he needed one more person or somebody was going to have a first round bye. I can't remember what it was. But he said, yeah, we got you. And so I got in that way. And then the whole, thing as far as like the first round, I got paired with him. And he was telling me, no, man, what you got to do, you just got to go for it. This doesn't matter, who who you think is the best, which I thought from the get-go when Thalo posted his in the messages, I'm like, this is it, it's over. I mean, I literally no, I did. I'm like, I'm not even gonna front. As far as like if it was just based on strict talent, I mean, his was my favorite. I would be like that guy, But Bruce was like, no, man, this is all about hustling, getting your people to support you, get more views for the page, and it's like anybody can win it. And so I do have a following, and so I just basically just put it out. You have to be very selective when you ask people for the ask. And I was
mm,
thinking, you know what? I haven't really asked anybody anything in a long time. And when people have asked me, I always go in both feet. I try to not only just participate, vote, or whatever, I try to get somebody else to do it. And
mm,
so when I looked at all the people that supported me, I was just looking at it and said, you know what? I can point to every person and think, I had their back once. So that whole mentality of if you're kind to other people, it's going to come back to you. And then, there was people that were like, oh, sorry, I didn't see your message. But they went and voted anyway after the voting was over, just to show their support. And it's like, I'm so sorry I missed it. I got you next time. So I just think it just comes from, I've always been a firm believer, just be nice, just be
yeah.
supportive of other people, and in the end, it's going to turn out good for you. And this was just, there's no way I could do this again. I couldn't repeat this. Like, let's say we had a battle this week. No, I'd be out in the first round. I'd be out in the first round because, like I said, I can't ask too much because then it becomes one of those things where, um, you become the user. I don't know if that
Yeah.
makes any sense.
Yeah, that makes
And
perfect sense.
but I mean, there's this podcast I listened to one time. I don't know if you know who Seth Godin is, and then he
No.
says he's like this kind of he's more of I wouldn't say an entrepreneur, but he's just more like a thought leader, what they call.
Mm-hmm.
And so he has a pretty famous podcast, and he said what anybody needs, no matter what you're doing in life, all you need is 1,000 supporters. Like, and I'm not talking about followers. He said, I'm talking about people that when you ask them to do something, whether if you put out an ebook, that they'll go and download it. Now they might not buy it, that's it, but you need 1,000 people. And then he did this math that he said, look, you basically need 10,000 followers, because about 10% after his findings,
Mm-hmm.
I think he said about 10% of people actually will move to action. So if somebody has about like 10,000 followers, well, those guys, if they work it right, is what I'm saying, they can make a living off of it. Whether it's I'm writing, I'm making art, or I'm doing this or that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that to me has always kind of been the goal. If I could, find those 1,000 people that are supporters, and I'm just talking about like dropping, a nickel in the bucket kind of deal, not spending $1,000 every time, but just somebody that's constantly just making that flow.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can make it. It's just simple math, I guess.
And Seth Godin, Goden.
IN.
Ian.
Yeah.
Interesting. I always like hearing stuff like that, like
Yeah.
motivational speakers and stuff like that. They're very
Yeah.
informative. So that's cool.
Yeah. No, he's I've listened to all his little, he has one like an ongoing podcast, and he'll introduce a different thought. And you know, I don't know how to say it, but it's just something that, some of it you feel like, oh, I can use that. Some of it I
Yeah, yeah,
can't. So
yeah.
it's just kind of picking and choosing.
No, that's cool, man. Um, Favorite medium as far as
Oh,
drawing or painting.
um, I gotta say that it's not because I'm really good at it, but the one I'm still chasing is oil painting.
Okay.
Um, I love I love markers. I mean, I feel like I just, met somebody new in my life, and then I want to keep dating them, and I'm spending all my time over here. But then I'm cheating on oils. But she's
Oh,
been
man.
she's been there all my life, and she actually does what I want her to do, and I can make
Yeah.
mistakes with her. But oh, markers is like, yeah, it's so nice and
Ah,
exciting. Um,
fresh love.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But I think I just love the gratification you can get almost instantly. And as far as like I love pop art, and there's things I'm doing that I don't think I would spend the time to, like, I would never paint mil máscaras,
Mm-hmm.
an oil painting. That's just a waste. But with markers, you can just kind of like really, there's that itch that you have that you can scratch, and boom, it's like you can do it. People, I notice, connect with this type of artwork a little better than they would if it was more like of a classical type of painting, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say right now it's markers. Oil painting, I think, will always be there in my life. I actually just signed up for a online Zoom art class to just get better with oils, you know.
Okay. Um, Also, as far as that goes, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. Let's see. The question would be, what's the biggest lesson that you learned the hard way as an artist? And that
Oh,
goes for any platform, any type of art, not necessarily just you know um, pens or marker and stuff.
I'm not sure if this really is what you're looking for, but I think the biggest lesson, the hardest one that this way say hard lesson to learn,
No, no,
right?
the biggest lesson that you learned the hardest way.
Oh,
There's a
biggest
there's
lesson.
a oh I learned this the hard way. What's the
Okay.
biggest lesson you learned?
Oh, okay, I got you. I think it has to do with who you put your trust in.
Ah,
As
that's a
an
good one.
artist. Because in this field, especially with film, I noticed, but in the art community, when you initially meet somebody, everybody's almost primed to present themselves as in, yeah, I'm making this happen. I'm doing this. They present themselves a lot better than they are. You know, like me, I could be just sitting here telling you I'm doing all these things, but I'm really just full of it, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
it's finding out how not trusting people so easily. It's almost like waiting for that money to basically hit the bank before you trust them.
Mm.
And it's I don't like being that way because I like meeting somebody, and if I connect with them on an emotional level or however, just connect with them, I want to just jump in to that relationship, right?
Yeah.
But then you have to that's for the hard way. Um, you know, I've put in a lot of work into different things, and then you're just disillusioned because it was never real. It was never real. And so you kind of just, it hurts you. It's just, you know, it could actually hurt you so much that you just want to quit. You just want to give up. You just want to do what your dad told you to do. Go
Mm-hmm.
get a job over here and just grind. And then, you know, you know, you'll be happier. But it just,
Yeah.
it,
That counts. Perfect answer, man. Now let me address this before it goes even further. Your last name, is it Duenas or is that just Duen?
nah, it's Dueñas.
Okay.
But it's kind of a little, it's one of those things where it's a joke, but you're the only one that knows the punchline in the sense that everybody that mispronounces it, they always say doing. And so it's almost like when I was trying to figure out a handle for my art page, I'm like, you know what? What am I doing here? I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, duh.
Oh, duh,
Everybody.
Duen. Yeah. Awesome.
So
I love it.
if people are gonna mispronounce my name, at least it'll be a good handle. So that's why it's Abe doing art.
Nice.
Yeah,
It makes sense, dude. And I love it. I love it. It's simple. It's that
yeah.
nice little twist at the end of that story plot there. Um, Something out of the blue. Favorite movie?
Oh my God. I guess I would have to say it changes every day. But as soon as you asked me that, I thought two movies, Lawrence of Arabia and Space Odyssey 2000.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
I mean, think about it. If it's Space Odyssey, there's people. It's that movie is so timeless. It story wise, yeah, okay, you got me there, right? You know, it's
Hmm.
not the greatest thing, but show movies at time after time after time, they copy the aesthetics of that movie. And this movie that was, you know, done way before Star Wars, you know, and all the Star
Hmm.
Trek movies that had no business looking. If you look at it now, that's still classic. People still copy the sci-fi elements of that movie,
Oh yeah.
and so it's like just on that level alone, I think that the best artwork is the one that is the most worthy of copying. You know, that's why people go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the Louvre. They study these masterpieces because they'll take away an element, they'll take a technique or whatever, and they'll apply it to their own work, and they'll come up with something new. But if you don't have that foundation, and then in film, you basically are doing that. You have to study other films to come up with something. And yes, people are like, you copied that, you took it from there. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's, you know, it's very rare that you can come up with an original concept and then you become that guy that's worthy of copying. It doesn't happen a lot. In history, you just go look back and it's like a handful of guys every hundreds or so years that you're like, these guys are the ones.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, right now I'm doing it right now. I'll give you a perfect example. Um, you know, right now I'm copying Thalo. I'll say it. I don't care. But because no, but I'm being real about it. I'm looking at his work. Even though there's no live demos that he does, but I'm trying. I love him just looking at what he's doing, and I'm like, wow, okay, I think this is how he got this technique.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Pablo Picasso was awesome at that. He can copy any artist. And so it was when he knew the techniques that he was out able to do his own thing and
Okay.
become a trailblazer. So right now with this medium, I'm basically just looking at like Chronic. I love his stuff too. I love how Bruce is so loose, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like with you, I love the edges, you know, the harshness. You know, I'm looking at all these people, and so like you'll see one thing that one of my works will not probably look like a previous work, and you can tell it's Abe right now is trying to find his style. I mean, he might not ever find a style. Maybe I'll just be an imitator because I'm trying to tell this story right now. So I'm going to use something that Thalo does. I'm going to use something that Bruce does, or Chronic, or you, or whoever I want. Gutter Baby. I mean, who blends like Gutter Baby? That I don't know what
Yeah.
she does. I think
Yeah.
she uses those airbrushes from Copic.
Oh man. No, no.
I'm calling you out, Gutter Baby. I know you're over there using airbrushes. If somebody that goes out and cuts out EVA foam to put little glasses on a card is not past using airbrushes.
Oh man. No, and it's funny you say that, man, because it's one thing. I wouldn't really phrase it as copying, but more of a, he's influenced you. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
aside from that, it's funny you say that because Phalo. I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but um, there's a collaboration between us. I'm just gonna
Okay.
put it that way.
Right.
Um, but I did try to take on the collaboration. I try to take his
Mm,
style and apply it to my own.
right.
So the point when he gets it, it's gonna be like, oh man, there's that collaboration. It's gonna be like, oh, okay, cool. Now I could see,
Yeah.
hey, I try to flow with the style. So
Right.
I definitely get that, man.
No, that's I haven't done that. That would be a huge challenge. I mean, and with film, you're collaborating all the time. You can't. It just can't be about your idea.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, like, the actor will say, you know what, I don't see it this way. I see the character doing this. And then a lot of times what you do is like, you know what, do it my way first, and then I'll give you a couple takes your way. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll even cut it both ways with those two different takes. And a lot of times, I'll be honest, the actor will be right. And maybe it's because he believes his performance more. And so it comes out better. But that's part of collaborating, just kind of like giving and taking.
Okay. You know what? And let's go ahead and put a little pause right there for a second.
Mhm.
We're about maybe a 15, 17 minutes left.
Mhm.
Uh, it's there's a lot to pack in this show, so I'm just gonna ask you now. Do you want to stay in maybe another half hour
Yeah, I don't mind.
and keep
I don't mind.
talking?
I'll stay as long as anyone's here. And why don't you do a giveaway so that way we have space them out?
Oh, you want to do a giveaway? You want me to do a giveaway, huh?
No, me. I'll do the giveaway.
Oh,
It'll come from me, but I don't. I'm not sure how it's a good idea to do a giveaway. Um,
you know
you
what?
know.
Let's say that. Let's do your second giveaway at the end of the show. Let me go ahead and do one. I'll join you
Okay.
just for
All
good
right.
measures.
All right.
So this is an actual piece I just finished. I just inked it. I haven't posted up yet. It'll go up. Oh, geez, I don't even know what to. So boom, there it is.
Oh,
So this is Deku from My Hero Academia. It's an anime. Uh,
nice.
glows in the dark as well.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know what you want to set the rules on this one.
As far as like how to give it away,
Yeah,
you want me to do a trivia question?
definitely. Let's go for it.
Okay. Let's see. We're gonna. That's a good piece. So we gotta make this one a little hard. Okay. Um, let's see if we got any Sam Keith. We got some comic book fans out there. Uh, okay. The version of the Wolverine head I have back here. even what was the comic book series that it was named? That Wolverine.
Ah, that's a good one. What comic series was that?
You could either name the comic series or the comic book of what it was named, or what was the main villain he won. Who I mean, he fought. I'm sorry, but he won.
Well, we'll get back to it. We'll see. We'll hold off on that.
We don't
So
have
let
comic book fans.
right, right. And I mean, when they watch it, if nobody wins it, and whoever
Right.
watches later in the future, whoever first one to answer it
Yeah.
gets it. You know,
Yeah.
that's the way it works. Um, so let's go into one of my favorite segments, my only segment, I guess. You know, I call this Josh's Tools. It's named after my very first interviewee that I did.
Oh, okay.
Great friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know he was very adamant about his name was Josh Queen CRL. So you guys definitely go find him there at Josh Queen CRL. Shout out. And he was very adamant about finding out what other artists use. So
Mm.
let us bring us into your dungeon, man.
All
Your
right. So
dungeon of
what do you want
art.
to know? What do you want to know?
Let's start with just basic drawing
Okay.
and painting. Some of your favorite tools that you like using. You know, rather
Okay.
it be
So,
pencils, pens.
well, even before I started doing or using markers. I
Uh
still
oh.
always I always carried a little pencil book. And sometimes, depending, I like doing a lot of sculpting, and sometimes I would make like my own little figurines out of Sculpey. So
Hmm.
sometimes I would have sculpting tools in them. But right now, see, here's perfect. It's a perfect example of like whatever mood I'm in. I'm in the drawing mood. So here's what I'll use. I'll actually the pencil I use the most is a drafting pencil. I don't know if
Hmm.
you can tell. And so it's got
Yes,
the
sir.
right now it's got the hard lead in it, and then you can actually adjust the pencil to the thickness of the lead. So if it's soft lead, it won't dig into the No, it's a good guess. All those are good guesses, but it's not, and it wasn't saber tooth. But you're getting closer, and so it won't jack up um your lead. And so you can see how long you can get the lead in there. So it
Oh
goes
yeah.
all the way in there, and you can sharpen. The sharpener is in the tip, so you got a sharpener with you. I just love this pencil, and I always carry a little white eraser on there to. That's the only reason I carry other pencils so I can use the eraser. Use number two. So that's
Oh
sounds
my
so
god,
stupid.
that's funny, dude.
And then I have
You know
this
what?
fat
Here.
marker.
Let me see if I could show you real quick. Just something for you to go ahead and maybe get. It's a Steetler Mars plastic pencil
Oh, okay,
eraser.
yeah. I used to have one of those. Man, a long
Yes.
time ago.
So I recommend this, man. Great
All right.
eraser.
I think
Better
I'm gonna
than the
jump on
pink
it.
ones. Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna jump on Amazon as soon as it's over. Get me one. Yeah. So that's what I always carry a fat black Indian marker. This is a Faber Castle. Um, I used to do just mostly just monochromatic stuff
Mm-hmm.
and just silhouettes. And so I would use that marker a lot. And my Copics, I use Copics, the liners. But recently, I bought these ghetto ones at Hobby Lobby because they were 50% off. They're the Master's Touch, and I wanted to see how they compare. They're not bad. If I was gonna do lining, I go back
Mm-hmm.
to my Copics. But you know this as well as anybody else that let's say I'm working on something that's just it's black, but you have Sharpies that have a little purple tint to it.
Oh yeah.
And so the different inks, it's good to have different shades of black and even properties. For like instance, that one when they dry too opaque. But the Copics, that's probably your solidest black. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I did a silhouette of I'm doing a series of 100 of my favorite shots in cinema history, and then two of them were from Mexican films back in the golden age, and one is of a serenade scene where all these mariachi are just singing to a window, but it's all shades of gray and black. And so I used every black I had, and basically was able to, because I had all these different variations. Oh yeah, duh, there it is. So I had all these different variations that I was able to pull off that look. Otherwise, the whole thing would be a black blob mess.
Yeah. No. Great execution.
Yeah.
Cool. And you're talking about Copic, so
So those are like my lining tools. Like that's my drawing stuff, right? And so as I brought my little marker caddy. Let's see. So I'm gonna bring it into more of the shot. I don't know if you can see it
oh
there.
geez, dude.
So this was basically I bought this I think at a Pottery Barn when it was like 50% off, and I used to put my CDs in there. And so nobody listens to CDs anymore, unless you're
What
65 years old.
what's a CD?
So my daughter said, "What's a CD, Dad?" And so I took the CDs out, and then a lot of people have like Tupperwares or whatever, which I love, but I just built a brand new drawing area. It's on my page.
Hmm.
My wife gave me the underneath of the stairs because right now I'm in my sewing room and there's no air conditioning here.
Oh
So
man.
my goal is that I draw something. Oh, there you go. Dang, man, you're on top of it. So my goal is I draw something every night, right? And so I have an LED light that I bought that is the daylight temperature right on top. I'm actually gonna get some custom glass and put it over the desk because I do a lot of
Hmm.
oil painting, and I just paint right on the glass, and then I can just clean it up with a razor, you know.
Yeah.
But I gotta save up some money. But I put my markers in this, and so the first set I bought with this little ghetto set on Amazon, right? I think we've all done this, right?
Oh yeah.
We've all well, actually, no. The first set I bought was at Ross, and those things were
Oh
were.
snaps.
You know what my drawing looked like? It looked like a drawings from the Mexican kindergarten. All the yellows were jacked up and nothing
Oh
matched.
dude. Oh dude. No.
So I bought these right here called Beyond You, and they're basically kind of like the same brand you see everywhere.
Hmm.
If you see one that's built like this marker, they're pretty much all the same.
Hmm.
But they were $35 for I think I got a set of 72 or 75. Can't remember. And they were okay. That was the first drawings that I did. And then I bought a full set of Poscas, but they're the finer. They're not the broad tips. And I just usually use Poscas just to fix stuff, do a little lining, but that's about it. And then my daughter, she follows this YouTuber called Jazza. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He's from
Nope.
Australia. I guess he's a big deal, whatever. But I only watched one video of his, and it was he tested out 10,000 markers,
Oh wow.
in different brands, and he had a tournament just like we did, and he put every marker up against every brand up against each other, and believe it or not, of course you already know which one won. The Copics were, of course, on top, but these markers, they're called Ohuhus. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
No.
Ohuhus. And I have heard of them before, but they didn't have a brush tip. But these are new. These are brush tip Ohuhus. And they're like, by the time you end up buying the whole set, I think they're like maybe 70 cents a marker.
Oh
And
wow.
they're super cheap. And he was doing like side by side. He did a blending test. He did all the different tests. Every marker brand, he did this test. And then he said second best. He's like, these take it. So
Oh
I
wow.
literally, as soon as I watched that, I went and bought the biggest set they had. It cost me about like $100. Um, I have a couple Copics just because I was curious, and
Hmm.
I mean, I'm not good enough to know the difference. Maybe I would later on, but I can't afford $1,000 just to do something I don't get paid for. You know,
No,
not usually,
definitely.
you know what I
And,
mean?
and and it's funny. It's funny you mentioning this right now. It's like, uh, so, I believe in God. Let's put it that way. And sometimes
Yeah,
He
I do too.
works in mysterious ways, and this is one way right now happening because right before our live, my brother and
Hmm.
I, we were talking about Copic markers. Was it a good investment? How much did they come out to be? And
Right,
is there anything better that matches to it? And I
right,
told him, well, there's a lot of alcohol markers
right,
out there, which are like the ones that are going to blend the best as opposed to
right.
watercolor markers or Crayola and so on and so on.
Exactly.
So I mean, it's awesome. The Ohuhus, I'm definitely gonna go ahead and check that out. And I'm Jazza, you said Jazza?
Jaza, and you just put in like a 10,000 marker tournament. I think that's what
Okay.
it's called. And just it's like a 22-minute video. You know how the first 5 minutes you just like skip it, just get to the, just get
Give
to the
me give me the good
tournament.
stuff.
But it is, I mean, and here's the other markers I was starting to buy before I bought those. Um, and I know everyone's probably gonna laugh at me, and you might actually have a good reason because I'm still new at this. But I saw another YouTuber and she traded in her Copics. She said, "Skip it. I'm gonna stop buying these because," and she's an illustrator. But she started buying Master's Touch, and they're right off the bat. I think they're $3 cheaper. But
Mm-hmm.
when you every other week, Hobby Lobby puts their Master Touch brand to they're trying to promote it on 50% off, and so they
Oh
have
wow.
sets of these. So I can buy a set of six of these that are uh, I guess when they're $25 or no $30, they're like $15 for a set of six. They're still a little bit more than the Ohuhu, and but um, they have shades that the other ones don't. For instance, I don't know if this happens to you. I bought the ones I have, like this cool blue one. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
called cool blue. Yeah, blue gray. So it's BG1. But it's like the right coolness when I want to draw a sky. I could never really get a good sky with the other markers because they just weren't the right shade. But this one right here I use because it's really light blue, and then I got a real cool gray, and then I got some skin tones um,
Sweet.
from that brand. So
Cool. Cool, man. I guess that wrap ups the segment for right now. You know. I mean,
yeah.
what else as far as paper? You got maybe about a minute.
Okay, paper. I basically haven't moved away from doing labels. And I figured out why the labels are, well, everybody else might know this, but I don't. The labels are just so popular because they're made to be run through a printer, you know?
Mm.
And so they'll take the minimal ink, and then they have, even if their paper's already thin to begin with, and they have that backing that's slick. So these labels you get, at the post office or any label for that matter, it has the same properties. Your markers just go way further by just using labels. So right now, and it has the aesthetic that is so popular with this type of artwork. So I'm not even going to get. I don't see it right now.
Yeah.
Moving away from it.
Cool. Well, there you go, guys. I mean, let's go ahead and we'll start off the next half hour like that, I guess.
Okay.
Uh, so we're down to a minute left, guys. Once again, we're listening to Abe Duenas. Definitely awesome, awesome guest. Thanks again for being here. And if you want to quickly go ahead and next prize.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so the next prize, I guess, is mine.
Yep.
It is. I guess, a portrait of you, the winner. If you don't like your face, then maybe a portrait of somebody you do like. It can't be somebody famous though. That's
Okay.
my one stipulation. I don't know
All
why.
right.
Just something in my conscience says don't make it somebody famous because I want it to be original. I don't want to be like, oh, he's just drawing
Well,
Krusty the Clown or whatever.
let's just wait for the next one. We'll begin the next one in about 10 seconds with that. So
Okay.
Thank you guys. Hey, join us again right now. 7 seconds left. Abe Duenas. Make sure you guys go check him out. And definitely join right back. Peace.
Yeah.